geeks. Shut up. Wrestlers.
Okay.
Suffering bruise, maybe broken ribs, difficulty breathing, coughing up blood.
Are you done playing Tickle Bud, huh? Holla, 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 holla.
You know I got 0 F's to give.
You know what that means, big dog? That means I just farted in your dog food.
Randy!
That's right, this is the best pro wrestling podcast, and you're not hearing sound bites by mistake. Yes, I was playing old sound bites again, so yes, this is being recorded on the last day of February 2018, but I thought I'd bust out some old ones just like
vintage.
Just like we did on last week's show. Hello, welcome to the podcast. My name is Tommy Stryker.
A midlife crisis because he does all those screaming karate moves.
And joining me this week is Taco, of course.
What up?
And Joe is here as well.
What's up?
Knee to the face.
And we brought back some newer sound bites for that little bit there. But yeah, we got a lot to talk about this week, of course.
What a week it's been. So much to talk about.
Elimination Chamber, Fallout. Finally, it feels like WrestleMania season. Am I wrong here? Because, I mean, it didn't really feel like we were in full WrestleMania season right after the Royal Rumble. You know, Shinsuke Nakamura wins the men's Rumble, kind of. He disappeared. Finally reemerged this week on Smackdown, but he was gone.
Yeah.
We had Asuka winning the women's Rumble, but she's been kind of feuding with Nia Jax on and off, and it's been all about the women's Elimination Chamber up till this point.
Raw has been feeling on the road. Smackdown feels like they went on the fucking like, here's the easy road, here's the dark, scary path. Yeah. And Smackdown was like, let's go that dark, scary path.
Yeah, they've been on the spin our wheels and do not a lot until the next pay-per-view gets here, which we're still 2 weeks away from. But we'll get to the developments on SmackDown. But yeah, I overall thought the Elimination Chamber was a fun show. Had a lot of developments coming out of it. Some questions about WrestleMania are starting to be answered, which is always interesting, of course. And I thought Raw was pretty good this week. Again, SmackDown was like
spinning the wheels, man.
Spinning the wheels, but we had some good stuff mixed in on SmackDown. I thought so.
It was a better week.
So. But yeah, let's talk. Let's just jump right into this Elimination Chamber stuff and kind of talk about the fallout on Raw that happened. Kind of mixed all in with it there, as well as we'll get into SmackDown and all that other stuff later. Of course, we'll talk NXT this week. We'll talk 205 Live. The Cruiserweight Tournament is ongoing, and so we'll get into all of that as well. And don't forget to check out Strong Honor, where we talked about all the stuff that's going on, New Japan and Ring of Honor. So many storylines combining across the two promotions with the Honor Rising events happening in Japan last week. We've got the first big Honor Club house show event coming up this weekend with Manhattan Mayhem. The Ring of Honor anniversary pay-per-view just right around the corner. Yeah. That's next Friday. So lots of stuff talked about over on Strong Honor. Talked about, of course, Kenny Omega reuniting with Kota Ibushi. Restarting the Golden Lovers tag team on those Honor Rising shows.
And they were golden.
Yeah, lots of fun stuff there. And Cody Rhodes just continuing to fucking stir the pot in the Bullet Club.
What a rat!
Yes, he definitely is. So yeah, check out all of that over on Strong Honor for sure. A lot of fun stuff there. So Elimination Chamber opened up with the Women's Chamber match. What'd you guys think opening up with the women's match right off the bat?
I thought that was a good idea. I was actually kind of excited that they were starting with the women's Elimination Chamber. You had to get rid of one of those at the beginning of the show.
Oh, for sure.
And you know that the men were going with who was in the men's Elimination Chamber, that they were going to be fine. Let's start the show off with them, the history-making match. And, I mean, it was kind of predictable. You know, it was one of the few matches of the night where I actually felt like we could have gotten more out of the ladies, actually.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the big criticisms is that, if anything, it felt a little bit rushed because, I mean, they got Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville eliminated early in the match. It's very rare in an Elimination Chamber match to have eliminations before everybody gets on the match. It's usually everybody's in the match before anybody gets eliminated, kind of War Games style almost. So in one way, that was kind of refreshing to see that they kind of changed what they usually do with this event. But in another way, it's like, well, why don't the ladies get the same treatment, in a more main event kind of status? But again, I thought it was. I thought it was cool because that opening spot, the opening match, you want something interesting. You want a hot match. You want something that's going to provide a lot of exciting action for the crowd. And I thought that this match delivered that.
Yeah, I agree with everything. It was fun spots and everything. It's just, I don't know, me personally, the whole Elimination Chamber before WrestleMania is just, it's nuts. It's supposed to be barbaric and chaos and brutal, and nowadays it just kind of feels just like a standard wrestling match, just elevated on the outside of the standard wrestling ring. So it's just...
it's different times.
It's different times, but it just also, I don't know, just doesn't really feel necessary in a way. I don't know. It's just like something to me post-WrestleMania, maybe. Like, it's just too gimmicky, like
you
right
think
before WrestleMania.
There's already enough interest in what's going on leading up to WrestleMania that you don't need to waste an Elimination Chamber in this
could
spot?
Be, but I'm really salty on the like. I like the Money in the Bank pay-per-view as like the idea, but when it comes to like the Hell in the Cell and the Elimination Chamber, those matches should be like when it's time to fucking go to war, or a champion has defended his or her belt so many times. So it's just like this one, just like I don't want to put those wrestlers in a spot where they can get injured in a crazy fucking match like that right before WrestleMania. I don't know. Like, it was fun, but it just didn't feel needed.
I understand that. I'm kind of on the other side of it to where it's kind of a secondary Royal Rumble. So your Royal Rumble determines a couple of different, you got one guy challenging for the Smackdown Men's Championship. You got Asuka challenging for a Women's Championship. We didn't really know which one. We got some answers on that a little bit this week. So, but the Elimination Chamber, it's like, well, what are we doing with the other championships? So we'll determine the number one contender with one, and Alexa Bliss defends her championship in another one. And it's a way to do these multi-person matches, get everybody in on a big match, and you can kind of continue some storylines going into WrestleMania, where, again, in order to get a lot of people on WrestleMania, they're probably going to give us some multi-person matches. I prefer one-on-one matchups, but, I mean, we'll see what we'll get. Obviously, with some developments that have taken place already, we kind of see where some things are going. But it was Alexa Bliss getting the win over Sasha Banks on this one. I liked Sasha Banks running away from Sasha and Bayley when she finally gets in the thing. Sasha turning on Bayley was kind of a big story at the event. But then what happened on Monday was Sasha and Bayley coming out together and working together. So I kind of like, Taco, you often talk about the long con, and that's kind of feels like that they're really stretching this story
with the
out.
Sasha and Bayley.
Yes,
absolutely.
Sasha and Bayley.
Yeah, for sure. Like, Bayley turned on her last night or whatever. She didn't take the tag and just kind of backed up a little bit. So, that was nice to see. And then who else was Asuka? But she still came in to make the save and help her. So it was just such an awesome moment there. And then today on Twitter, I think it's Norman Smiley's birthday, and there was
Happy Rusev Day.
Happy Rusev Day. And there's a photo of like Bayley on the right and Sasha on the left, and they both tweeted like "Happy Birthday, Norman Smiley," but they each both cut the photo in the middle and posted their half with him.
Nice.
So it's just like little things like that. It's fucking awesome to start seeing.
So what did you think about Bayley refusing the tag in that spot? That's kind of typically a quote heel move or whatever. But was that with Bayley doing that? Is that kind of a needed edge?
She's such
for
an
her?
underdog that's like good for you for fucking stepping up for yourself, because we know Sasha Banks is the boss. Like, so we need that from Bayley.
Yeah, and what throws it in more is the fact that she like almost feels disappointed that she did it. You look at her, she's like, I did it. because I had to, not because I wanted to, because I had to.
But then
that's moving into that edge, like you were saying.
And then I like the touch of, Asuka needs me because of all the skullduggery going on over there.
Mm-hmm.
And so she comes in and helps out Asuka in that moment. So that kind of shows that she still has faith in her other teammate, but just not quite there with what's been going on lately with Sasha. So yeah, I liked all of those developments. So they did talk about on Raw that it would be Asuka challenging Alexa Bliss for the Raw Championship. I think we were kind of thinking that Asuka at some point would either choose Alexa Bliss or possibly Charlotte over on the SmackDown side.
God, I wanted Asuka and Charlotte.
Yeah,
though.
I think a lot of people wanted that, and with the story that's going on with Nia Jax and Alexa Bliss on and off. I mean, they're friends, they're not friends, they're frenemies, they're best friends.
Yeah.
Depends on if you're following them on social media or if they're going by weird WWE storylines. So it's kind of been all over the place with them, but I feel like they've been kind of building up to that match, or at least some sort of confrontation between those two. We're going to get Asuka versus Nia again next week, this time without the ramifications of Nia getting added to the match like at the pay-per-view. But, of course, the Asuka winning streak is always on the line.
Oh, They really pushed on the mixed match challenge this week.
Yeah, talk about that, because I did not see mixed match challenge
So it
this
was Asuka and Miz against Balor and Sasha. And yeah, the whole fucking match, they're really pushing it. Like, is her streak gonna be ruined? Is it gonna be broken? It's gonna be broken here. Like, I wish there was a counter for how many times they were bringing it up. But at one point, Asuka tagged herself in, so we just pretty much got a Asuka Sasha match for a good chunk of the whole thing.
Okay.
And then I don't remember what happens off the top of my head, but it gets to a point where Asuka's and Sasha Banks' finisher, and Baylor's doing his on Miz as well. So it looks like they're both going to tap, and Asuka flips it and puts Sasha in a headlock, and that makes Balor kind of look over his shoulder like, did that just fucking happen? And that's how Miz gets the pin on Balor. So it was a really awesome spot, and that's how they kept that streak going. Kept it, it was a nice little touch. I was like, I wish we could see this on TV. Like, that was awesome. Like, I loved Balor looking back like, hey, that's not what's happening. Like,
interesting. Yeah, I meant to check it out. I just didn't. I didn't quite get to it.
They were really pushing it. Like, it looked like she was gonna lose it there, but. Well, it's Asuka.
Interesting. So, yeah, a lot of questions. Well, like I said, we'll get to the SmackDown side of things, but yeah, it's interesting to see if it's just going to remain straight up Bliss and Asuka at this point, and see where it goes from there, I guess. Titus Worldwide versus the Bar. Of course, the Bar retains. We had the 2 out of 3 falls match.
Oh, great. The 2 fall match?
The rematch again from Monday Night Raw. Again, we just saw this thing on SmackDown, so kind of repeaty with the Usos just recently winning 2 straight falls. Now we have the Bar winning 2 straight falls. It almost feels like we should be building up to the Bar versus the Usos. I guess we'll see, but then you got the Bludgeon Brothers doing their thing over on the SmackDown side as well. So we'll get into all of that. So yeah, just confirming that the Bar are at the top of the Raw tag team division at this point. But yeah, what are the Revival doing? What's Anderson and Gallows doing? Of course, those are kind of sidebar stories that are going on.
Sidebar.
With the I didn't even mean to do that, but yeah. We talked about Nia Jackson, Asuka, Matt Hardy versus Bray Wyatt. Boy, the crowd really took this one over. Here's the thing. I mean,
he had it when he encouraged the chants.
My remote control started making that fast forward noise here again. Here's the thing: is even like going back to what I was talking about with Titus Worldwide. I did end up doing a little fast forwarding on Monday Night Raw. Because it is a 3-hour Monday Night Raw, and let's face it, Titus Worldwide, entertaining, interesting. Titus might kill somebody at any moment, but still, it's just like, so you get that. And then, again, Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt. This has been going on way too long, and without the video pack, no development, like in months. It feels like the video package for this match featured the Consumer of Terrestrial Entities promo, which was like the very first Matt Hardy promo when he changed to the Broken Woken thing from like a couple of months ago. It feels like at this point, so they're still like hyping that as if that's the new thing, and then fucking Clinton Dix comes out on Monday Night Raw this week, Bray Wyatt, and he's like, Matt Hardy, we're not done yet. Look what you've made me do to the poor Heath Slater and Rhino. We're gonna face off again. It's like, did you not hear the crowd chanting the bullshit and having a beach ball party at the fucking you're gonna bring this back again? Why aren't you paying attention? We need something new. We need some developments. We need to move forward, and it's just been the same. Any other thoughts?
He sounds a bit sour.
I'm sorry. Very
Be sour!
There's no way to disagree with you. I mean, like, we wanted this, we wanted this feud to start this off, with broken Matt Hardy versus Bray Wyatt, two of the craziest fuckers. And like you said, no development. There's no character. We haven't had anything outside of the ring.
One? I need
Senior Benjamin.
I need Brother Nero. I need more.
I need insanity. Like
it's just those two laughing at each other back and forth.
It's scripted sanity, like insanity. Like I just need pure insanity from these two guys. Let their minds go.
Triple yump.
All right, let's keep moving and keep the positivity rolling. Let's talk the Ronda Rousey stuff. Do this.
This isn't positive.
Really? You're negative on this.
All right.
I'm angry.
I'm gonna change your attitude. We're gonna harness the power of positivity. We're gonna take this Bray Wyatt shit. We're gonna flush that shit down the toilet and forget about it. We're gonna harness the power of. I'm gonna turn you around on the Ronda Rousey situation. So we had this. What's got you heated? We had the slap thing from the pay-per-view where Stephanie slaps Ronda Rousey in the face after she suplexes Triple H through the table. Then she signs the contract anyway, which, okay, that part kind of bothered me. It's like, if Kurt Angle just told you they're going to put you under their thumb, why are you signing the contract anyway? Well, it would kind of be a heelish thing to be like, fuck you guys, I'm not signing your bullshit contract, and get back to me when you got something better, even though that would make sense.
It's that badass mentality of fucking bring it.
Right, exactly. And then we had what happened on Monday, of course, with more funniness from Kurt Angle, and
how rude! Hold on, like how rude of Stephanie McMahon and Triple H to make Kurt Angle work if he's under the weather like that. Like,
well, I mean, he had the double flu.
I know he has vacation time and like sick time.
Okay, I loved Kurt Angle on Monday. He like, look, I need this job. I lied. I'm sorry. completely like kowtowing to the fucking authority. That was hilarious. And then the thing with Ronda demanding the apology from Stephanie. Stephanie squaring up and getting right in her face, like, I'm sorry. Oh my God. Stephanie's apology was great. I've been needing Stephanie to sell for female wrestlers, for the Charlottes and Baileys and all of them of the world, and she's been demeaning and acting like she's higher power than all of them for far too long. Thank God she finally sold for Ronda Rousey. So I appreciated and enjoyed that. And then finally, the last straw, and as they're leaving, Triple H with the cheap shot to Kurt Angle. I don't know, like, there's the perfect meme right before, not meme, but there's a picture out there on Twitter, and David Bixenspan made it his profile picture of just Kurt Angle's dumbfounded face looking off into the distance right before Triple H blindsides him. It's the greatest thing ever. So I enjoy a lot of this, and then I want to talk about your negative feelings so that I could talk about my positive feelings going forward. But Joe, give us your thoughts on this whole situation.
The problem I have with it is, one, like, yes, she's training. Yes, I know what she can do in the octagon and everything, but we haven't seen her in the ring. And now that I know that I'm going to get to see her in the ring, do you see her wrestling before Mania?
No, absolutely
Exactly. Her first match is going to be against Stephanie fucking McMahon. I give zero shits about that. Whether or not it's going to be, like Triple H and versus Kurt Angle with them, whatever it turns out to be. But that's my problem. I don't want her first match to be fucking Stephanie McMahon. I want to see her actually do something with an accomplished wrestler, somebody who knows what they're doing in the ring, so I can see where she's at. I don't care about Ronda Rousey and how badass she is. I was just happy to see, yes, Roddy Piper's coat, it was cool and everything, but she was wearing a coat that fit on Elimination Chamber. But it's not going to change my mind. She's going basically into the Snooki fucking match.
Okay.
Here's the thing, though. They have to do it, though. They brought Ronda Rousey in, and they never gave us that money shot, that photo of her locking that armbar on Stephanie McMahon. That's the money shot right there, this whole Ronda Rousey situation. And then word out there, too, is that they're doing this to make Stephanie McMahon a bigger name in media and photo, just a bigger person out there. I think this is the beginning. Like, I'm being optimistic, but, with XFL happening and Triple H slowly taking over 205 now, and then this, report of Stephanie wanting, or them pushing Stephanie as more of the main face of WWE now. I think it's time. Vince is slowly stepping back, and this is one of those steps where it's like he's finally, going under the radar when it comes to commercial and putting his image out there. And I really do think this is just, this way of putting Stephanie McMahon when you think of WWE.
But that is one of the things that the internet has been screaming about is why bring in Ronda Rousey just to get over Stephanie McMahon? And that is something I do share a concern with, because I don't want this to be, at the end of the day, I don't want this to be about Stephanie McMahon, but I think being out there with Ronda Rousey gives Stephanie McMahon the rub or whatever, and maybe...
That right nudge is what I'm saying, though, and it's just you got to wrap up that shit they did at the WrestleMania, that little interaction they had. After that, I think she's in. She has to be. And
all right, I'll get more excited if they do a Stephanie McMahon training montage like they did Vince going after Stone Cold.
I mean, I seriously would be a little bit more pissed if they were, putting her out there with Alexa Bliss or Charlotte in the championship match. I do like that. She was like, no championship match. I'm earning my way here. That reminds me of Kurt Angle in TNA of all places when I believe he just came back of a big injury, and he's like, I'm working my way from the bottom all the way up to the top to win that championship, and he fucking did, because he's Kurt Angle. But that's gonna be the Ronda Rousey thing. I want her to go through and just fucking claw her way up and just work it, learn the ropes. Like when she's in that championship match, I want someone who knows what the fuck they're doing in there. Not I've been training my ass off, know what I'm doing in there.
Yeah, I think here's where I'm gonna spin it around for Joe, hopefully, and maybe some of the other ones, some of the other haters out there. I think this is just the beginning, and this is part of what Taco calls the long con. I think she's got a headwind coming in, right? Like you say Ronda Rousey's name, and there are wrestling fans that are instantly thinking, "Oh, this is the celebrity that you're bringing in." Boo! This is another fucking Floyd Mayweather, another I don't know what.
I don't think that of her. I will say that much. Like, I just saying the match itself is the Snooki match of the WrestleMania.
And there's that attitude too. And I think this is way above even the Snooki match, because this is something that Ronda Rousey has been passionate about, something that she has wanted to do for years, something she has, yes, indeed been training for, but hasn't had that experience yet. But again, this is the beginning of the story. And if you bring her in right away, put her in there with an Alexa Bliss is going to get over. You put her in there with Charlotte's going to get over. Whoever you put her in there with another wrestler, the already wrestler, is going to be more over, because they have that built-up equity with the fans already. Who's the biggest heel that you can put any woman with in the entire WWE? Stephanie McMahon. Stephanie McMahon has more heat than anybody in the WWE, and she never sells for anybody, and when she does, it means something. And so this is the only I can't believe I'm sitting here making an argument for Stephanie not ever fucking selling, because I hate that she never sells. The last time she sold was when it was like Vicky Guerrero's last night, and Vicky threw her into the pudding puddle,
the pudding puddle,
or whatever it was. That was like the last time she sold anything. So the fact that she's already selling for Ronda, I believe this to me feels like this is how we're going to get Ronda over with the wrestling fans. She comes in, beats the shit out of Stephanie McMahon. Where do you go from there? Then you have the long con, the long build-up. You got Asuka on, I don't know, maybe the SmackDown side, holding that women's title for a year, and then Ronda on Raw, or maybe vice versa. I don't know. Whatever. But then you have them both on these crazy runs, being undefeated, and then finally they clash at some point. Or, maybe they both go on long undefeated streaks and then lose, but then they could still have a clash at some point of these two powerhouses.
And that sounds awesome, but it's not going to make up for the next month that I have to sit through this.
See, I'm glad they're taking care of this now before it gets too deep. Like, even though it was a good match, AJ Styles, Shane McMahon, fucking year 2 of AJ Styles, really?
Yeah, I completely got thrown off the tracks there.
But Ronda Rousey won me over this week because yes. I was worried about going into it. I was like, I'm not sure she's going to be able to differentiate the realism or the real sport to the fake sport kind of mentality. And her coming out of the Elimination Chamber, it was bad at first. Like, I don't want this. I'm here to fight. Just typical. Oh God, this is rough.
But she was great on Raw.
She flipped it.
Yeah.
That's the Ronda Rousey that makes money was on Monday Night Raw. That fucking the mean bitch face. Like, she has it.
And she learned how to use her microphone voice too. That was a big thing. Like, she was so soft at the Elimination Chamber.
I think she was playing us on that though. That's what I'm saying. It's like that's what I was like. I was kind of worried about that because it's like, oh man, this is how we're gonna do it. And then but why do you need to come in and just be oh, I'm Ronda Rousey, I'm going to disturb everyone. It's like, yeah, we know you're Ronda Rousey, but now she has a reason to turn it up. She only knows one thing. She's the bull. She sees the red right now. So it's like, that's the Ronda that makes money.
All right, let's move on. Talk the Elimination Chamber on the men's side, main event from the pay-per-view over the weekend. The big story, of course, is not necessarily Roman Reigns winning. That was kind of what everybody was predicting, but my God,
points.
Braun Strowman, and I got points for that as well on our SLTDWrestling.com Fantasy League.
Thanks, Elias.
That might be the only points I got.
I will destroy all.
Joe is in first place in the Fantasy League. I bounced down to 5th, and Taco's
I'm wearing the I just chose my team based off my name.
Yeah, Taco's working on that bargain basement price there.
Power bottom.
Anyway, but yeah, the big story coming out of the Elimination Chamber was Braun Strowman running wild, eliminating everybody in the match, except for Roman Reigns, of course. Roman Reigns going on to face Lesnar at WrestleMania. Let's start there, kind of work our way back. I really like
what a week it's been.
What is happening? Holy cow! Sorry about that.
Insane.
About 100 different buttons got hit there by accident.
And none of them was Braun.
Right? Let's try that one more time. I'm not finished talking about.
I'm not finished yet.
Talking about Braun Strowman. I'll get back to you, Braun. Let's talk Roman and Lesnar. The worked shoot aspect of this, I think it makes it fun. I like that Lesnar was in Vegas, but not at the WWE event, taking pictures with Dana White. Fucking Roman Reigns coming out on Raw, talking all kinds of shit, feeling certainly less scripted than he usually feels like, even though it still didn't feel quite authentic. It certainly didn't feel like a CM Punk type pipe bomb.
It felt free but okayed.
Right. The stuff where he's like, I'm going to go in the back and get my ass chewing like a man.
See, in my head, here's why Brock Lesnar was a no-show on Monday Night Raw. Because Cain Velasquez and all of them were in attendance, and Cain Velasquez whooped Brock Lesnar's ass for that UFC championship. So
that was in Vegas, though.
Oh, you're right. Shit.
Raw was in Anaheim.
Oh, yeah. That's
what
right.
a bitch.
Damn, I fucked that up. Never mind. Erase.
No, but I like that they plays into the story that they're telling. They advertise Lesnar for Raw. Him and Heyman don't show up, and then big Roman Reigns can come out and be like, "Well, I showed up. Look at me, fans. I'm your new favorite guy." And fuck, that goddamn Lesnar. He's been holding that Universal Championship, and he's been He's been away doing his Lesnar things and taking advantage of his big boy contract. And
he's a bitch.
He's such a bitch. He's such a bitch. I'm gonna look at me. I'm gonna play to all you big male fans and use misogynistic terms like bitch and talking about Brock Lesnar. And oh boy,
he's the big dog. He can say bitch.
When we go to WrestleMania, ooh boy, it's gonna be all about me, and I'm gonna win that Universal Championship, and you're all gonna like me because I brought it back to Monday Night Raw, and I'm gonna be here every week because I'm the every week kind of champion. And
I don't remember any of this.
When I say ooh, you say boy. Ooh, boy.
All right, I'm sorry. I'm making fun of it, but I liked the Roman Reigns promo.
It was fun.
And I think it plays into this idea that there are a lot of people that are kind of tired of the Brock Lesnar stuff, him not being around, the championship not being around. People want to see the championship on the show, whether it's every week or every other week or every couple of weeks. They want to see
maybe
it more
defended
often.
On the show. My God.
Well, here's the thing. I think it's they've been smart with Lesnar. He has not wrestled on Raw since coming back. How many ever years ago? 2012 or whatever it is. Has not wrestled on Raw. Never defended a championship. It's very rare to have the Universal or any championship, big championship, world championship defended on a Raw or SmackDown. So they've been smart with that. Where the hell was I going with that? Anyway, but they're playing into that idea because the fans like an idea of the champion being around. You could have a championship match on TV at any time. That's a big pop. So they like they're playing into that, and so I think it's good. I think it overall it makes it for a more interesting match, quite frankly, because we saw this a couple of years ago. Also, what helps is that there's the crowd isn't clamoring for anyone else right now. There's the Finn Balor fans out there. There's the Seth Rollins fans out there, but there's not so many of them that they drown out the love for Roman Reigns or the fans that are starting to turn onto the Roman Reigns side because they've done a pretty good, effective job of burying Finn Balor with losing to Kane, never getting a rematch, and almost having him fight Sister Abigail, but thank God that didn't happen.
Right.
So, but they've done a good job with that. They've just recently started to re-elevate Seth Rollins. But what I'm getting at is there isn't that Daniel Bryan, there isn't that CM Punk, there isn't that other superstar that the fans want to see in the place of Roman Reigns right now, and so that's what I think is helping Roman Reigns in that in that aspect, as well as playing into the.
It's just everyone's so defeated.
There is that as well. That's been going on for so many years now. And this is, let's face it too, we've been talking about this Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania rumor for 8-9 months now. So we've had plenty of time to mourn and prepare and really not get our hopes up about a Finn Balor or a Seth Rollins or anybody else, because we've kind of known where it's been going.
I feel like everyone they do want that Rollins in that spot or a Finn Balor in that spot or even Strowman at this point in that spot.
The plan is obviously once Roman wins and brings the Universal Championship home to Monday Night Raw.
Back to this universe.
He's going to need opponents. So that's why you start to build up Seth Rollins now. Finn Balor is over as ever. Just look at his Twitter. He talks about it all the time. Braun Strowman, another one, over as hell. 3 great opponents that you could put in front of Roman and have great programs with over the next year starting after WrestleMania. So I think that's where they're going with the Rollins and all those other guys there. So
Rollins and New Orleans.
Well, let's talk about Rollins and Nollins, because that's the next subject. What do you do with Rollins, Finn, Miz, Braun Strowman, Elias, all of those guys? Does it smell like a ladder match?
Yeah, it sounds like we're going to have to do something like that. Honestly, after the Chamber and with how definitive he was fucking slamming John Cena into that mat, I want to see Strowman and Cena go at it.
Ooh,
just for the hell of that.
Idea.
There's your fucking WrestleMania match. Like, get those two going at each other's throats. Like, dominance. Like, fucking, like, he just bitch slammed him on the ground. Like, I don't know how else to describe it. Like, it's just so dominating. I was like, that's what I want to see.
Well, Strowman bitch slammed everybody in the match
Yeah.
except for Roman Reigns. Let's talk about the Cena factor. Okay, he shows up at Monday Night Raw, says, "I want the Undertaker. I can't have the Undertaker because I'm not in charge. I'm gonna go to SmackDown and try to make things happen for me there." So we'll talk about SmackDown here shortly. But I'm just trying to think other stuff from Raw there. We did have the story where Seth Rollins and Finn Balor did beat The Miz in consecutive matches there. Finn kind of stealing a bit of Rollins' thunder on Monday Night Raw, with coming out.
Not really. He got sloppy seconds.
coming out after.
Step up.
So again, with all of that going on, that feels like we're working towards a multi-person match. But then we had Braun face Elias in a singles match, and then Braun won with the DQ because Elias got the fire extinguisher or whatever. So we'll come back to that at some point. But
I feel like I read this somewhere, and I mean I'd be down for it even at a WrestleMania. But Braun versus Elias, but it's a no DQ or a street fight. It gives Elias, the option to just hit Braun with a lot of shit.
What else?
See, I wouldn't be mad just a fucking Elias segment at WrestleMania in front of 100,000 people seeing.
I mean, if he doesn't have a match, I mean, you have to.
I got to be honest too. I mean, I get a kick out of Elias, but when he comes out and he spends so much time, like on the pay-per-view, it was so long, and then he starts singing. It's just like, oh, I gotta.
It was so fucking great though.
I love it
because the fans so into it. And he's like, well, I'm not gonna sing it. And then they fucking get mad. He's like, oh, well, my voice was in tune anyways. Like, I know, I'm down. I'll walk with Elias.
I don't think Tommy knows what WWE stands for.
Well, it's I know the women like to.
All the women want to walk with Elias.
Women.
Check out Strong Honor for that one. All right, let's move on. Let's talk some SmackDown now.
Change the subject. SmackDown Live.
I can be a superhero.
I'm going to make this a tag team match.
Sigma.
Go ahead, Taco.
So right before the pew, 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 you should just have a record screech and then like a
I was gonna retire the Zigman thing, but now we might have to add some more.
We have updates.
All right, we'll note that. I've got some editing and some soundbite stuff to work on. We've been teasing the 205 one for a while now.
Oh God, I can't even do it.
All right, so yeah, SmackDown was a little rough.
It was easier this week, I thought.
There was some good things. And again, last week I just watched the video clip, so it was a little easier for me. But this week we did have Cena showing up in an effort to make the Staples Center Los Angeles SmackDown Live a little more interesting and ramp up the road to WrestleMania, of course. Cena wants the 5-way match at Fastlane, so he challenges, or he just says he wants in the match. Shane puts him in a match with AJ Styles. If he can beat AJ, of course, he makes his way into the match, and that is indeed what happens. So we will have a 7-way 6-pack happy challenge match situation at WrestleMania or at Fastlane.
At this point, why the fuck not?
It's somehow, I don't know, like it somehow adds bounce to the match that was a clusterfuck. I mean, still is a clusterfuck, but it just like.
It's fucking John Cena.
6 people. I wish AJ Styles would have just won and been like, you think you can come to SmackDown? Like,
yeah,
just take over like this? Hell no.
Me too. It was a hell of a match. Very good match for a SmackDown show.
And I wanted AJ Styles to beat up John Cena.
It wasn't as good as they had a match about a year ago. I think it was in January of last year.
I think it was the Rumble.
Yeah, you're right. I think so. And that was a really good match. And this didn't live up to that, but this was still a very good match.
Good
especially
TV
for
match.
SmackDown.
Yeah. But yeah, Cena getting added to the match. Again, it just feels like he's not going to win. And then what does he do after that? So I was with you, Taco. I was like, let's just have AJ win here. And then what does Cena do next, but this way kind of delays it a couple of weeks. We have Fastlane. Hopefully AJ wins, and then Cena does, what do I do now? After that. So that was one highlight from SmackDown. Again, really good main event match. Check that out.
Do you believe in any of the rumors that they're possibly thinking of doing Rey Mysterio and Cena at WrestleMania?
I have seen that. I know that it's something that's rumored.
That's why.
Wouldn't surprise me, but again, when Cena teased Undertaker. There. First of all, the fact that he was on Raw and said the Undertaker's name, that tells me something, that there's something there. Why would Cena bring up the Undertaker?
He dropped that months ago too. Last year against The Miz.
Yeah, he talked about wanting to face the Undertaker last year. Of course, it's been something that he's wanted to do for quite some time. So that could be one of two things. Could be Cena going into business for himself. Could be it could be something. There could be something to it. Why bring him up if they're not going to pay that off somewhere down the line? So we could still get a Cena Undertaker situation here. I feel like Rey Mysterio and Cena would be, I don't know, I
this feel would be rough.
It'd be fun and everything, but
good, but it wouldn't.
Mysterio and Styles right now, like that match was so insane on SmackDown. Like listening to the crowd go, AJ Styles, Cena sucks. Like there was hardly any Cena sucks in that chant. It was a straight AJ Styles chants. Like that dude is so fucking over right now.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with. I've seen the stuff with Ray, but I just don't know.
God, I hope not. I'm okay with Ray making an appearance, doing a match against somebody. That's fine, but not Cena.
Yeah, that'd be. Yeah, there's no heat there, unless Cena wins the championship, but then he would be facing Nakamura. So we've seen that before too. And that's
what if Mysterio gets the gift of the gods title,
and shows up and cashes in from? That's certainly.
And then Dario shows up and lets everybody know what kind of match it's going to be.
Anything goes.
This matchup is now anything goes.
And any word on Samoa Joe? Like.
He's just coming, still injured, just rehabbing his injury.
I forget what the injury was. Was it a shoulder?
Sure.
I don't remember what it was. I'm sorry.
It's just like, fuck, it's Samoa Joe or Strowman just coming out and just being just strength to get strength at this point.
I want to say Samoa Joe's going to be out for WrestleMania, especially at this point. They're too close.
He's back the night after.
He might even be out for a while yet because it wasn't that long ago that he had that injury, I want to say. So, we'll see. Anything's possible, and he's been off the radar long enough so that he could show up at any point, and it would be a nice surprise. The only other highlight from SmackDown for me was the Usos and New Day promo back and forth segment. Again, this is a feud that we kind of got tired of earlier in the year, but was very good. And these two teams brought it once again. I mean, it started with the New Day in the ring doing their shtick, which again, to me was like it was almost this. Not rewind. It was almost fast forward worthy. I shouldn't put those right next to each other. So we got through the shtick, but then the Usos coming out, what they were saying was really good, and then Big E getting fired up and firing back at the Usos was really good.
Big E.
I just really liked that. So I'm already looking forward to seeing what these guys do at Fastlane. But then the Bludgeon Brothers coming out and then everybody leaving, everybody kind of powdering for the Bludgeon Brothers, I thought was kind of interesting. I wonder if this, again, leads to some sort of multi-team match at WrestleMania.
If it involves Usos and Bludgeon Brothers, I mean, I love New Day, but I just feel like the Usos and the Bludgeon Brothers are going to work together in the weirdest way.
Well, I mean, the Usos have been putting on great matches with all of the teams, the Benjamin and Gables, the New Day, and the Bludgeon Brothers. I mean, you got Luke Harper in there, who's pretty fucking awesome.
Harper's,
Rowan's a big dude who moves quickly and all that.
He's the muscle.
He's the muscle, but I mean, in that mix, I think they'd be really put on some really good matches, given the right amount of time and all that. That's really the tough part. Is yes, WrestleMania is a long marathon show, but then again, with so many matches, so much stuff, do these individual matches get enough time to tell a good story? So it'll be something to see about going forward. I don't really have much else good to say about SmackDown, so I don't know if there's anything else that you guys wanted to bring up and talk about I mean, Nakamura did show back up on SmackDown, defeated Aiden English, but it wasn't without some skullduggery at ringside from Rusev. And Rusev had to get involved to make it a competitive match so that Aiden English could get some offense in. But
he's showing some better offense, at least in the last couple matches that I've watched with Aiden English. It's just green. He still looks green.
I don't get green from Aiden English, but my problem more is, and again, to go down a negative path here, with Nakamura being off of TV for several weeks here, it seems like. I feel like we haven't seen him in the ring since the Royal Rumble. Why is he coming back and having any kind of competitive match with Aiden fucking English? He should just be beating, it should be a squash match. He's going for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania. So anyway, again, they used the skullduggery to create the excuse of, it's an unfair advantage, and that's why it's competitive. So I get it. I'm being extra complainy. I'll just shut up and move along.
Don't be a lemon, dude.
I know, right?
Yeah, don't be a lemon.
It won't let me flap the wrong jerk. I'm going to go over here and do it.
He's going classic.
Nothing is responding. The sound bites have been shut down.
We're going soundbite-less.
Flap the wrong jack, sucker!
Sucker!
Let's you talked about mixed match challenge already, so let's talk 205 Live.
Change the subject. 205 Live.
Weird question.
All right, the 205 Live soundbite sound clip or whatever. The intro is still in the works, but that's
just like 205 Live.
That's what we got so far for the intro sounder for 205. Again, I've been liking the show. Good stuff with the tournament matches. We got the continuing on with the second round of the Cruiserweight tournament, or as they call it, the quarterfinals. Cedric Alexander versus TJP. Cedric winning with the lumbar check gets me some fantasy league points.
Nice.
So maybe a little comeback for me, hopefully, this week. Unique submissions early in the match from TJP. Alexander sells his knee after a big dive to the floor. TJ Perkins takes advantage, but Cedric Alexander gets the win with the lumbar check.
Some fun sequences in this match between these two. Very smooth. Like, they work together really well, but had like two different styles. I like that they bring that up with Cedric, that he's always pushing that 205, that he's always a little bit bigger than the other guys.
Right up against the limit.
But he still has the speed of some of these guys. So I like Cedric winning. Again, we haven't had anything for Cedric to do, and this is like the first kind of small push he's been getting.
Well, and he was kind of in line for the title shot when Enzo still had the belt, so giving him a nice push in the tournament helps too.
That would be really fun. Just seeing the video package now, him and fucking Murphy, Blake Murphy doing like a weigh-in thing because he's about to doing the weigh-ins and everything.
Yeah, yeah. Drake Maverick, is that his name?
Yes.
Yeah.
Drake Maverick. He talks about his vision for the cruiserweight
really
division.
Good promo.
I enjoyed this a lot.
Yeah. Again, who'd have thought Rockstar Spud would come in and just be like this awesome, serious character? A straight up general manager,
Just a mastermind,
saying all the right things.
See,
calling everyone
I didn't
out.
see any of the Rockstar Spud stuff, and I haven't done any research in that fact.
Weird question. Is
Rockstar Spud
a cruiserweight?
Well, you remember when King Maxwell pinned him?
No.
Go ahead, Joe. You haven't seen Rockstar,
but I haven't
Spud.
seen. I don't know that character at all. I only know this Drake Maverick character, who's the GM of 205 Live, and I like what he's been doing.
Cool. Mustafa Ali says Jack Gallagher took him to the limit last week, and then Buddy Murphy says that next week he will be even tougher for Ali. So Ali and
Buddy Murphy.
Buddy Murphy going to be facing off next week in the
Go Mustafa.
quarterfinals. Main event this week, Kalisto versus Roderick Strong, quarter-final match. Strong counters early slingshots into a backbreaker. Outside, Kalisto does a Hurricane Rana into the barricade. Strong drops Kalisto onto the announce table, works all of those backbreakers once again. Roderick Strong gets the win. Roderick Strong sells his shoulder after an awkward top rope body slam spot, which I thought was a really nice touch, but added to the drama of the match. But again, I'm not sure if that was part of the drama or part of an actual possible injury there. I haven't looked into the news yet on that one, but Strong looking good in the match there.
Super awesome.
So he will face Cedric Alexander in the
Crowd
next
was
round.
into them too, man.
Well, I was gonna say the crowd got into this one a little bit later, and to me, again, this is one of the problems with this 205 show being recorded or live after SmackDown is just the crowd. The crowd isn't there to see 205 live.
No, they're tired, like Joe says.
The crowd's tired. The crowd's there to see SmackDown. The crowd is there to see AJ Styles. And once they've seen AJ Styles, that's like the end of. If they put this stuff on before SmackDown, tape it before SmackDown. Hell, if you want to do it live before SmackDown, go ahead. Most of us are watching on some sort of on-demand delay anyway. So just do it then. The crowds will be hotter. I think it's just a no-brainer at this point because I think the crowds will be more into these really good matches.
I really think it would be fun to see, us, the audience, to see the crowd slowly filing in for a show too, and seeing the crowd kind of gain inside as the show goes on. Quick break, SmackDown's on air.
See, I have no problem going like that more NXT route with 205. Not saying that they have to shoot like so much in one central location, but have like a set location and then tour it when you need to. Throw it on, like you said. You can put it on before SmackDown when you happen to be close, or you just want to get certain storylines ahead.
Saying maybe move to a more taped format like what NXT is.
Yeah, I have no problem with that.
The good thing about that would be the crowds that were there would be there to see 205 live. It would just be a matter of, can 205 live draw on any kind of level to make for an interesting crowd? Unless you could do it for free down at Full Sail or something like that, or as an addition.
It only takes so long to get people hooked.
That's true. And if they keep doing it right like they have been, there's no reason why.
All three of us watched it this week, didn't we?
And that's the thing, is
crowds will stick around.
The word of mouth is there. The shows have been good, so it's just a matter of, do the crowds get into it more? Do the SmackDown? And this is the big question, too, is because the crowds are there to see SmackDown, will they ever get into 205 live? Or will it have to be something like Joe is saying, are we going to have to put 205 on its own show so that the fans that are in the building are there, in fact, to see that show, so that they are responsive to the matches? Because, again, these are some really good matches, but I thought that Cedric Alexander and TJ Perkins match suffered because of the crowd just not being that into it. There were the crowd was more vocal for TJ Perkins because he's a Southern California guy. So, right. So that was a problem with him being the heel in the match.
You look at someone like Roddy Strong too, he's a tough cat to really want to root for or boo or anything. He's very bland in the appearance, but once he does his shit in the ring, he does stick out, and that crowd really towards the end. Most of those people are going to be average fans who don't know who the fuck this guy really is from NXT, let alone Ring of Honor. And
I think Roderick is a strong candidate to possibly win this thing, because as a guy who is great in the ring, master of the backbreaker, all of that, but bland on the microphone, I think he would make a really great heel. Just being a guy that kicks ass, kicks ass in the ring, doesn't say much on the mic, and you build up babyface stars to take him on, and once one finally takes off, then you have him defeat Roddy. But up until that point, he's a guy that needs the championship because he doesn't really have anything else other than his in-ring to build him up. So if you build him up as a really strong champion that he's not liked because he's got no fucking charisma, but he just kicks everybody's ass in the ring, he's going to have that credibility. And then finally, when a babyface steps up and the crowd gets behind him and that babyface beats Roddy, then you got something really cool.
Look how much that title made Neville stick out.
Gotta let the power go. The power will go to his head, man.
So Roderick Strong will face Cedric Alexander in the semifinals, so one of those two will go to the finals. On the other side of the bracket, Buddy Murphy versus Mustafa Ali, and Drew Gulak versus Mark Andrews. So, I mean, Drew Gulak is a strong candidate to go. Mustafa Ali, a lot of fans behind him as a babyface. I guess Ali and Roderick Strong would be a really good final. Buddy Murphy, who's just coming up, there's a nice story there. But
Mark Andrews looks like his name should be Buddy and should be kicking rocks all the time.
But I mean, going back to the other side of the bracket too, with the Cedric Alexander story, it'd be really cool to see him go to the finals as well. So I mean, just say what you could do: Cedric Alexander and Gulak on the other side. You could do the double babyface thing with Mustafa Ali and Alexander. Buddy Murphy's kind of working the heel thing. I just don't see Mark Andrews going all the way.
Did you see his cell phone promo?
I did not. I don't think.
It's real quick, just a response basically to Drew Gulak, but like, and I don't remember much of what he said, but in the middle of it, he just does a backflip with the cell phone in his
I did
hand.
see that, yes.
and I'm just like, that it perfectly encapsulates Mark Andrews and what his character is.
Backflips for no reason. So, yeah, I did see that. That's interesting. But I don't see him going, but any of the other three from that other side of the bracket.
I see Mark Andrews as more of the wild card. Like, for no reason at all, he just goes all the way.
And then just gets beat by Cedric Alexander.
His ice cream cone is going to fall on the ground. He's going to cry.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk NXT.
Change the subject.
NXT.
Good stuff on NXT this week. A big main event was Kairi Sane versus Jesus Christ.
Really? Damn.
Excuse me.
I didn't know he came back to fight a pirate.
He's
fucking elbow from heaven. Talk about.
It was not, in fact, our Lord and Savior.
Bless this leg drop.
Shayna Baszler and Kairi Sane in the main event, quote unquote main event, rematch from the
Young Classic.
Hawkland Dix Classic.
I was going to say the Cruiserweight Classic, but no. Yes, the
Clinton Dix pack.
Clinton Dix Classic, the Mae Young Classic, the rematch between these two, only this time with a lot more character development. I'm really liking Baszler these days. She's done a really good job for as green as she is. Kairi Sane, as we all know, phenomenal, of course. Baszler getting somewhat the surprise win here. Not so much the win itself, but the way she won, tapping out, getting the submission win with the, how do you say this? Kitafuda clutch? Is that what they're, Kira? I don't know. I think I spelled it wrong. Anyway, it was sleeper hold of sorts. Baszler gets the win after a very unique suplex drop. Picking Sane off the top rope drop.
I think Kairi, the only reason that looked good was because of Kairi Sane.
But Baszler with very nice knee strikes and kicks in the match. After the match, Baszler calls out Ember Moon. So I like what they're doing all around with Baszler, just creating that heel badass. And again, getting her win back, Baszler is here from Kairi Sane coming out of the Mae Young Classic. So those two are 1-1. So certainly they could bring that match back at some point in the future.
No more contenders match.
Just a rubber match at some point down the line if one of them wins the championship or whatever. So yeah, really good stuff there. Other stuff from this week's NXT. Tyler Bate lost to the Velveteen Dream.
Points.
The Purple Rainmaker. Yeah, more points for Joe here.
Unstoppable.
Really interesting stuff here with Tyler Bate kind of on a losing streak in NXT just in general. But I don't
205 too.
Exactly. Yeah, the 205 tournament, all of that. I don't think he loses a lot, though. He's got a lot of credibility with some great matches with Pete Dunne, of course. Worldwide credibility for his stuff on the worldwide indie scene as well. So I don't think he loses a lot of momentum here losing to Velveteen Dream, and you can certainly heat him back up. And I like the beginning of this match where he's just working his fucking British counter wrestling and just Velveteen Dream getting frustrated and pissed off and throwing a hissy fit outside the ring. So that was a lot of fun. But then Velveteen Dream overcoming that, winning with the Purple Rainmaker.
Probably the weakest one I've seen him do. This one, it wasn't the most impressive.
Johnny Gargano does sign his termination papers. This was out there on WWE.com and on social media during the week. The referee, Drake, apologizes for being the one that counted the 3. And the big question now is, will Johnny show up under a mask as Johnny Sports Entertainer or something instead of Johnny Wrestling? It's interesting. And they did talk about the clause of, well, he has to finish the current dates that he has. So what are his current dates that he's already booked for? Is he already booked for NXT TakeOver? Does he get that match? So that's the question there. So we will see there. Then one of Taco's his fantasy team members, Too Hot for Your Mom, Scissor Bonani. I think they're calling him
Cesar
Bononi, taking on Adam Cole. Adam Cole wins with a knee to the face after some skullduggery at ringside from the rest of the Undisputed Era. Come on, you got to fire that thing up there. So no points for Scissor Bonani. I did like the beginning of the match where they offer Scissor Bonani the Bononi. They offer him the Undisputed Era T-shirt,
banana,
and that's the banana distraction that leads to Adam Cole taking over. And
Scissor banana.
Scissor banana. What does that mean anyway?
What else?
Oh shit.
Oh man.
Scissor Bonani.
Come on, what the fuck is going on with this thing?
Are we recording?
Yeah, apparently we are.
What does that mean?
Now it's probably going to play 4 times. Anyway, we had the brackets revealed for the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. I don't remember if they were revealed last week, but we didn't talk about them, so we got them here to talk about. Leading into that, the Street Profits were on the streets interviewing the public about who they think is going to win the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. I believe it was John from Alabama, and I forget the other one. But
I got nothing.
Both of them thought that both of the people that they interviewed thought that the Street Profits were going to go a long way.
Smart people.
In the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. So the big surprise here is that we've got no War Machine in the brackets. So what team is going to explode and either not make it to the tournament or not be able to continue in the second round? Because I need War Machine in this tournament, goddammit. But right now it's the opening matches are Street Profits versus Heavy Machinery. They take on, the winner of that will take on either TM61 and the Authors of Pain. That one is the match for next week, and the rematch from the last the finals from the last Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. So it should be hell of a match next week. Other side of the bracket, we have the Sports Entertainers, Sabatelli and Moss. My money is on them breaking up, leaving a spot for War Machine. But if that's the case, they would be taking on Sanity in that first round match. And then finally, 1 and 2, Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch taking on Mustache Mountain, Tyler Bate, and Trent Seven in the first round. So I like.
Do you think they could just Eric Rowan their way into this and just beat the shit out of the Sports Entertainers?
That's certainly a possibility.
I like that idea better.
I'm not too upset that War Machine is not in this. I'm kind of looking at this whole Dusty Rhodes tournament as a good fresh start for TM61 once again.
And they did a nice job rebuilding them up.
Doing a really good job rebuilding them and then having them face Authors of Pain right off the bat, giving us the finals of the last one right away. It's just putting that ball into TM61, make them a solid tag team in that department once again. And just throwing War Machine in there and not having them win it or having them losing it. I don't think they don't need to win that, and they definitely should not lose in that.
That's the thing. If War Machine was in it, they pretty much would have to win it, I would think.
Those guys, they're going to be big in there. I'm excited.
Yeah, and they're not going to necessarily need this tournament to go all the way. So, I see TM61 out of the one side of the bracket. Then, either Sanity out of the other side. It'd be nice to see Oni and Danny Burch go a long way. Mustache Mountain, certainly a possibility. You could even see the Sports Entertainers go all the way to the finals and go against TM61 because they've been getting a little bit of a push. And then when they fail, that's the ultimate breaking point between they're going to have to split up the car and figure all of that out when
they just saw it in half.
Right. So after the quote main event
hot dog style
wrestling match from NXT this week, we had the Andrade Cien Almas and Zelina Vega celebration of Johnny Gargano being kicked out of NXT. But then
I thought there should have been more streamers.
that would have been good.
And cake.
Fuck streamers.
Cake is always good. Aleister Black makes an appearance, threatens to challenge Andrade Cien Almas, but before he can, Killian Dane shows up and says, "Don't forget about me. We're going to have a match before that." So I don't know if this is going to be next week, but I am very much looking forward to it.
Like you say, threatens to almost challenge.
Well, I'm
going to do it.
Yeah, I want to do it, but
theme music started
Killian
playing.
Dane with that
should have said it faster.
Yeah, Killian Dane came out and ruined that party.
Woulda.
And Killian Dane stood tall after the little tussle. So looking forward to that. That's going to be really good.
Fuck yeah.
And then,
Yeah, whoever wins that match, that's still going to be a good match. Killian Dane versus Andrade, or I was going to say Tommy End. Holy shit. Aleister Black.
Bringing out your indie cred there, Joe.
Well, the first time I ever saw him was what was that on the UK tournament?
Oh, sure.
So he was Tommy End. It was like his farewell Tommy End. So like that's way easier to say than Aleister Black.
Absolutely. But yeah, I think Taco was very excited when Aleister came out to make that challenge for Almas.
Him and Andrade, dude, that's the match. I said that a couple months ago.
Yeah,
I thought Adam Cole would be further in the picture, but no, that's a match I want to see.
Yeah, it's interesting because where do you go with Adam Cole at this point? Is that a Velveteen Dream kind of thing?
Ooh, that'd be fun.
Yeah, it's interesting there because, he doesn't really have a lot going on. He just beat Scissor Banana. So I don't know where you go.
Fucking Scissor Banana. Can you just picture just two bananas?
Oh, man, dude, that's gross.
This fucking gets all mushed up. They're the worst scissors ever.
That is so profane.
Taco.
And rude.
All right, well, I think we
Scissor Banana.
We got to get out of here, I think. Make sure you check out Strong Honor this week. You can find Strong Honor on this podcast feed as well as its own podcast feed. Make sure you rate, review, and subscribe to both this and that podcast. Really helps us out. We appreciate it. And, a lot of good stuff going on in New Japan and Ring of Honor. So make sure you check those out. Follow this show at BPW Podcast on Twitter. BestProWrestlingPodcast.com is the website. Hey, you should email us. BestProWrestlingPodcast@gmail.com. Follow me, Tommy Stryker, at Tommy Stryker. Spell Stryker with a Y. Taco, where can people find you?
Ooh, if there's any artists out there, please drop some scissor bananas and send them to me at HGREV Taco.
And you can follow me, Joe, at JoeBPWP. That's at Joe, Best Pro Wrestling Podcast.
All right, thanks for checking out this show. Bye.
Peace.
What does that mean? Absolutely.
What? No, yes.
Larson.
Sammy Wow Wow.
A midlife crisis because he does all those screaming karate moves.
What else?
Face.
I don't like your face.
Ooh. Should I shave? Like, is it my nose?
Your face is fine. I'm sorry.
Right.
I apologize.
I'm very self-conscious. Christopher, what is this?
Women.
Oh man! Oh man!
No one cares about women's wrestling, man.
God, I love Silas.
Oh boy.
Women.
Disappointing week for me.